have 18,000 blood, you cannot discredit the, how will I put it, the usefulness of IREV. Okay, because on INEC electoral guideline, they specifically mention BVAS and IREV as the technology of choice in this election. Okay, so, and again, I'm trying to cast my mind back to the Oyetola versus Adeleke case, what the Supreme Court said about that text at the top of my head right now. But if I should take a guess, you understand, I believe that, fine, like they said that in terms of, from a result point of view, they said couple of results are tenable. You understand? Certified true copy results and IREV data. You understand? Which should be how will I put it? We should conform with the primary source results, which is polling unit results. So we can all agree that the polling level result is the primary source of results. You understand? And for court proceedings, it should be certified by INEC. You understand? So, and they also acknowledge BVAS. I mean, BVAS and IREV. You understand? BVAS as the primary source of accreditation data. Okay? And IREV upload of primary level results is also tenable. Okay? Because IREV is tenable. It's a valid technology as prescribed by INEC. Okay? So now, in this case, P2B printed, like, came to court with over 18,000 blood results. Okay. Now, at a minimum, if we are saying these results were blood, okay, and IREV is a credible means of results, like to checking, you understand? If IREV is a credible means as stipulated by INEC, and we are seeing blood results, therefore we cannot authenticate who really won this election. Okay, 18,000 polling units is enough to upturn whatever result INEC declare. So the onus is now on INEC to clarify on those blood results. Okay, even though this 18,000 is blood, it will still validate Bola Ahmed Tinubu victory in the election. Then they produce a copy of those 18,000 results that shows that Bola Ahmed Tinubu got the majority to still be validly declared as president. But they've not done that. You understand? That's why P2B is bringing 18,000 polling units, okay, which is which should contain enough voting block to upturn the result of the election. If we want to look at that basis alone, okay, because in terms of INEC announced results, Bola Ahmed Tinubu surpasses P2B with about 1.something million, if memory serves me correct. Okay. Voting capacity of 18,000 blood result polling units, invariably, we give you over 1.something million. Okay, so I think that is a very strong point. And remember, in terms of that 18,000 units, P2B and his legal team, they were pessimistic. Okay, they were conservative in providing those numbers. Okay, because that number is far more likely higher than that. So at a minimum, 18,000 result does not correspond, but that number is far more higher than that. But anyways, that's my understanding of that aspect. Then I still wanted to say something else regarding what you said, but I've forgotten. Okay, you want to just chime in, Happiness, just briefly?
Because my understanding on that aspect is that they were saying that in one event, P2B said they did not upload the result on IREV. Another way around, he's saying that he won the election by the numbers on IREV. So like that was what I was.
Okay, so I guess the thing there is that two things can be true. You get, they did not completely and accurately, two things completely and accurately uploaded results on IREV. So completely because information on IREV is not completed yet. then accurately, because a lot of the results uploaded to IREV was not a true reflection of polling level results. Yes, either they were blood copy or they were mutilated results, or they were just insignificant like algebra being solved on paper. You understand? So yes, that statement was right. Result was not completely and accurately uploaded to IREV. Then number two, with the limited information, with the limited valid, credible results uploaded, Peter Obi has a claim to victory with that limited data. Not Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So the question there is that, so how on earth, if you come from any angle, let's even assume you use the limited data on IREV, Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not win. If we use the original polling level results, Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not win. So how did you declare Bola Ahmed Tinubu the winner of that election? So Peter Obi did not contradict himself there. He's telling you that from any angle you come from, Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not win this election. You get? So the onus is on you. If I'm making a claim that you did not win this election, INEC, you falsely declare Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the onus is on you to provide the data that said, okay, this is the data with which we used to declare him winner. But you've not done that. You can't tell me I'm contradicting. Contradicting against what? You have to produce a superior evidence to prove my contradiction. INEC have not done that. And I don't think I should, I should even be expending my energy to debate INEC or APC. Because the foundation of their case is on nothing. It's not like I will expect you to bring an alternative result to counter my own or my point. You've not brought, okay, you are countering they were invalidating, I think one of their talking points, the certified copy obtained by INEC, obtained by Labour Party from INEC and submitted. They were saying something in the matter of this result were procured by the Labour Party. And the result that should have been standard to the court is the result duly signed by polling level agents. You understand? So, okay, if you are discrediting my result, bring your own now. The result I obtained from INEC, the same INEC that declared you winner, you are discrediting it. Then bring your own. Happiness, I think that's the answer to that question, but go ahead before we move to the next speaker.
I wanted to point something out here, very important. Because this their final is a lot of contradiction. They went ahead on page 8 and cited section 60, subsection 5 of the Electoral Act that provides that the presiding officer shall transfer the result, including total number of accredited votes and the result of the ballot in a manner prescribed by the commission. What is that manner? If you look at that manner, it's a transmission. If you go to, I think, section 64, subsection 5, I don't know if it's true, that says that the presiding officer will transfer the result from the polling unit. So now, what am I talking here? They went ahead on that same page 8 and said on, I think this one is paragraph 10. And
let me just come in here. The manner prescribed by INEC is on the INEC guideline. Let me just put it there. INEC so just to chip in.
Mm-hmm. So
they said electronically transfer in real time. So that was clear. It was unambiguous. But go ahead.
They went ahead on that page 8, paragraph 10. We urge the court to note that it is not the petitioner's case that there was no electronic transmission and upload at all, but the same was not done immediately. So they are not even accepting the reality that the petitioner is not making the case that it was not transmitted. The case is that it was not transmitted immediately. So the electoral guideline says that you must transmit it before collation so that the presiding officer who is collating can rely on it to authenticate.
Exactly. So you are saying it was transmitted, but it was not transmitted immediately. It was electronically transmitted, but not immediately. So how did you collate? You understand? How did you collate before transmission was achieved? You get? But go ahead, Happiness.
So when you look at that, no, it's just like they are shooting themselves on their foot because it's evident what the law said. So how just like they've deprived the collection officer the right to authenticate the polling unit result, because the whole sense we know that have been going on in Nigeria is that from the polling unit to the collection center, they will do a lot of surgical operation on the result, and when it gets there, what if itself, it will not be what the people voted. That's the essence behind the Electoral Act 2022. Now, you've seen it. So when you put at it like this now, you begin to understand that even though what they asked before, that on that contradicting side, that how can you say that it was not uploaded? And how will you come out and say that you won from what was uploaded? Let's even admit without conceding that the result they are uploaded was the polling unit result, but 14,000, then 18,000 blood result, minus it. You understand? You begin to understand, like you say, 1.something million, minus it. Because this thing is outright cancellation according to the Electoral Act. When you tamper it, it's outright cancellation, minus it. And when you minus it, something has to give. And who is the beneficiary of blood and TPS election polling unit result? We know who that ultimate beneficiary is. And we know who will suffer the ultimate fatality when it's being cancelled. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Happiness. Thank you. I think you made valid points. You understand? There, see, that's the thing. Even if you are not canceling the entire election, you are canceling polling units, it's enough to alter the result of the election. Anywhere BVAS is not used according to Electoral Act, cancelled. You understand? Anywhere result does not match polling level results, result collected does not match polling level results, cancelled. Then number two, you transmitted results after collation. So on what basis did they collate? Provide us those, you understand? Whatever they collected with. You understand? Then now, when we look at the mechanics of both, when you manually transfer and when you electronically transfer, you understand? Electronic transmission will always be faster than manual. So you cannot tell me that the manual reached the collection center first before electronic reached the IREV. You understand? Then let's look at the electoral guideline. The electoral guideline specifically use the term wait time. Okay, transmit electronically in wait time. So wait time, let's look at the dictionary meaning of wait time. Wait time means instantaneously. You get instantly. That's the meaning of wait time. You transmit in wait time. So if you are telling me that months after that INEC still transfer electronically but not immediately, then it contradicts the provision of the electoral guideline that says wait time. You must transmit in wait time. You understand? But see, that's why I said this our lawyers. This our lawyer. They should just step aside. I'm not a lawyer, but I will do justice to Wole Olanipekun. You understand? He's a mediocre of a lawyer. Very abysmal lawyering this thing performance so far, to be honest. You get. So I saw Baron on Mindset Space yesterday saying that he would have done a better job in terms of this response than what they did. And these guys, imagine these guys are collecting millions for this kind of job. You see, to make money in Nigeria is easy. You understand? You just don't go the right way. You understand? And just be crooked. That's the thing. You see, what is happening in this whole court legal system is criminality. These guys are being paid millions to do this kind of job.
Comrade, they are paid billions, not millions. Billions. You don't pay them millions. You pay them billions, actually. How many SANs? A SAN sit at 5 million, 2 million per sitting.
Let me tell you something. If I prepare this legal address, you understand? I will argue this intelligently and I will be consistent. You see, we've pointed a couple of contradictions. You get? Happiness pointed a couple of them. Number one, on one hand, you are saying you want Labour Party to cross the T's and dot the I's. You understand? In terms of procedural evidence and everything. On another hand, you are still arguing that same breath that no election is perfect. Okay? So you want perfection on one hand. On another hand, you are arguing imperfection. That is contradiction. Another contradiction. On one hand, you argue that a mathematician is not a lawyer, cannot decide on non-compliance. On the other hand, you have so much to say about data analysis. You get something 360 away from the legal profession. You understand? So, on another hand, you are talking of 25% is not needed, just like the case of the 90 Awolowo versus Shagari. You made the argument that, so even though you not get 25%, you are almost close to 25%. On the other hand, you are saying Bola Ahmed Tinubu scored 25% to 9 state and FCT, making FCT, 25% in FCT relevant once again. So these guys, so I can go on and on about their contradictions. You understand? So I will do a better job. You understand? The Labour Party lawyers should step aside. This is an easy case. Rebutting those things, those nonsense they put is very easy. And my charges will not be as much. You understand? If you give me 1 million, I'm fine. It's a free money for me. Oh yeah, now no wireless. See, and we'll do a better job than Oluwole lawyers. But let's hear for Michael. Michael, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, comrade. Say these documents when they talk about, say when we don't read them, when I get strong mind, I tell you true. I know why I choose not to read that document. I only choose not to read it for one reason. I chose not to read it because at the end of the day, what am I supposed to be reading? You guys didn't have any defense now. So what the hell am I supposed to be reading? I felt comfortable listening to it from you guys. I'm not going to glorify that document. I mean, I'm not saying you guys shouldn't, but I'm not going to glorify that anyway because maybe I'm busy. I'm sort of really busy reading something else. I'm reading from the exam. So my point there is this. It's really simple. And I'll just narrow this conversation to this. I think I've heard everything I need to hear about this document in the last 2 minutes. And this is the first time I'm going to speak about it or concerning it. I liken the PEPT lawyers in Nigeria, not just this 2003 batch of lawyers, but the general PEPT, and the rest of them to the criminal justice system in the United States. These kind of lawyers. And you get the whole picture in what I'm trying to say. At least the likes of David Kenner in the United States. Those ones don't do any other thing other than represent criminals. You get? Their job is criminal defense. The likes of David Kenner, Rob Shapiro, and the rest of them. Yeah, brilliant dudes. Take nothing away from them. But trust me when I tell you that their only interest is to defend criminals. Anyway, that's why you call it a criminal justice system. Like in this case. So, this is where I'm just coming from. Is that I've heard everything, that should be said about these lawyers. Yes, I'm not taking in the LP lawyers into, no, they are the very good ones. You get the Johnny Cochranes and the rest of them and all of that stuff. If you know what I mean. There's a fine line between the very sensible ones and the ones that will go for the extreme cases. Now, where I'm just coming from with all of these solutions is that we have gotten to the point where
hi kids! Meet my friend, Mr. School Bus!
You know what I mean by a conbearer.
Hi, Bob. Why don't you join me on the way to
school?
school?
You want to call yourself. You should learn to understand the fact that Nigeria is at the very tail end of it. It really doesn't matter what the response of the people.
Hey kids! Look, there's the farmer on the tractor!
Hello kids! Hop on
the
tractor!
I have my fears about the Supreme Court. I do. Because that is where the real problem is. I don't see a legal pathway. I don't know about anyone else, but I do not see a legal pathway. I never have, and I still do not see a legal pathway. At this tribunal for who he is. I don't see it. He doesn't see it. From a legal perspective, he does not see it. And that's why the defense has actually turned out the way it is. They don't see a legal pathway. Trust me. And we all know this. But what's their pathway? That's the real question. Because I don't think
You know
I don't want to know how them these guys want mad rich. The justices of this tribunal. Me, I don't know how they want mad rich to turn what you want head. I know the ones in the Supreme Court have those balls. No problem. But let's do one thing at a time. Shebina this one now with the face. Make we face some go. But there's just one very simple little bit of advice that they have not gotten in a very long time. And let me state it as somebody who's a nephew to a retired judge and a very sound one. Is this. Mr. and Mrs. Justices of the Federation, from wherever you people are, I personally reckon that there are 2.5 arms of government in Nigeria. I'm sorry, 2 arms of government in Nigeria. I only recognize 2. I don't know about it.
Oh yes, we are the donuts. The donuts. The donuts.
Bootlicking, depending on the government, it could be a bootlicking, arm of government to the executive, which is the second one. Now, this is the catch, is that you people would have existed as a half somewhere in my head, but I just chose to send you guys back into the executive as what? An arm of the executive. You people have made noise several times about craving for your independence. Cried all you want. Whipped out all your tears, to all papers and sundry. You have whipped. Una don't cry. Una never tire. This particular government, the previous one, and the ones before, have treated you people less. The more, in fact, from the very top, they've treated you less all the way down till today. To the fact that you people are no longer called half arm of government. You are no longer even called an arm of government. You are just an extension of the federal government. That's what you people really are. So the independence you people crave for, if you are interested in it, there is an opportunity for you to be able to do something and do your job right. Look, I've once heard Comrade's argument about the fact that it is not called democracy if 7 people sitting on the bench can determine the lives of 200 million people. It is not democracy. For hell, that is where we are today. So it is really simple to put that if you people actually want to actually get your hands off this mess every 4 years, do the right thing. Nobody they beg you now. Because when you do rich, you will never collect. Anyway, 35 billion we didn't give them. You wanna share them well.
Oh yes, we are the donuts. The donuts. The donuts. Oh yes, we are the donuts, and we love to dance.
Hello, I am the blue donut. The blue donut.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Good job. I love your submission. You understand?
We are the donuts.
At the end of the day, you see, a lot of this whole thing has gone out of our notice because we have not been following court proceedings.
The donuts.
The Ahmed Lawal case, in retrospect, I am happy, I am glad it happened. You understand? Because that was the obvious one that broke the back of the Supreme Court, the judiciary. You understand? And as at then, it was business as usual. They just casually gave that ruling. Okay? And that contributed to the spotlight that we have on them today. That was a bizarre ruling. It was a wide ruling. It was beneath the bench those guys sit on taxpayers' money. The Supreme Court, the bench, the judiciary is not your personal toy that you play with, you fiddle with. That's why I said that I get frustrated when I say it's up to the justice. No, with due respect, it's not up to them. It's up to the evidences. It's up to the merits of the case. Let me tell you something. Okay, I don't know whether there's a lawyer here. In other criminal justice system, it is not the judge that decides to convict someone or not. It's a jury. A jury mapped out of the general public. The jury will listen to both sides of the argument during trial. and the jury will decide. What the judge does is, based on the jury decision, whether somebody is guilty or not, the judge will interpret the constitution. If that person is guilty, we interpret the constitution to sentence that person in terms of the sentencing act. So, in those advanced democracy, they don't put the prerogative on some old men, wig-wearing, black robe-wearing men to decide the fate of the citizen. They rather put it on the citizens themselves. You understand? The juries just compare. They are not legal professionals. They are just random, everyday citizens. But they listen to the legal argument between both sides and they make their decision. And in a closed door, they decide whether somebody is guilty or not on every count. Yeah, so that is why, like, it is the Nigerian judiciary system, the setup is criminal, actually.
Comrade, I wanted to even just say something, just as a last thought to what I just said, and just to add to what you were saying. Isn't it fair if this is what we ought to do every year, which we've been doing every year? I think the only time we've ever skipped it was 2015, but I think it's been done every other year, or electoral circle. Is that INEC spent 305 or 355 billion plus, plus that. You know what? Instead of giving that 355 billion to INEC, come to think about it, why don't you just give it to the 7 motherfuckers on the bench? You understand? And tell every political party to campaign in front of them. Don't you understand? Because that is just what has happened. Without the 355 billion given to them. You know what? We have an electoral year. This is our budget for the election. INEC, go and sit down. Until you guys get it right. Give the whole 355 billion to the justices of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because let all candidates campaign in front of them and let them pick a winner according to their own choice. Because that is exactly what has happened to us in 2023. So if they want it to continue, no problem. Let's set a precedent for this particular conversation ahead of 2027. Ayud.
Yeah, Michael, see, my opinion has been the same all along. The judiciary, they are not there to decide who won the election. They are there to affirm the will of the people. It's a formality. We are going through the court process as a formality for them to affirm what we already know. To affirm the will of the people. They are not there to cast that their 7-man vote. You understand? It's not something that for election, like you said, they should just that 7-man. You understand? They should just cast their vote and decide who our president is. And that is what I'm saying, and I keep saying. Look, your decision should be based on the merits and facts presented before you. Technicality is not a ruling. It's not based on law. You can't rule on technicalities. Let me just make that clear. Discretionary ruling is not in your discretion to decide who won the election or not. Okay? It's not in your discretion. If I had the discretion, I want to be worth 1 billion naira. I want 1 billion naira in my bank account. If it is at my sole discretion to decide how much I'm worth. But unfortunately, life is not that way. My financial worth will be based on my earning capital and my savings. That is what we decide my financial worth. Not at the discretion of whatever I want in my mind. So I get frustrated when people say it's up to the judiciary, the Supreme Court to decide. With due respect, no. You get? The judiciary, they are just there to affirm the will of the people. And anything contrary to that is what I love to call judicial activism.
Doesn't mean he's a
you understand? Judicial activism, making laws in the bench rather than interpreting laws. And that's why I've always said
legislating from the bench.
Legislating from the bench. And that's why I say, if you want to be an activist, if you want to legislate from the bench, leave the bench, buy a party form, run for office. The tenet of democracy is such that it is framed in such a way that we have two political branch of government and one apolitical branch. The two political branch, the executive, the legislature, they have to be elected. For check and balances, we have that third branch that is apolitical, that should not be subjected to the whims and caprices of politics, and that is the judiciary. So, it is a mandate, it is an obligation, it's not a will of the judiciary to remain apolitical in their everyday decision that affect the Nigerian lives and livelihoods. But unfortunately, with this current judiciary, it has never been the case. We've had live confession of a legislature encroaching on his part, who is a justice, to serve injustice. See, I will end here. They said the court, the judiciary, is the temple of justice. You will not decide whether when you want to be a temple of justice or not. You have to be a temple of justice all the time, 100% of the time. We pay you with our taxpayer money. Whatever allocation that has been given to you, I hope it is not a bribe. That's another story for another day. I hope it is unconnected to these tribunal proceedings. I will leave the corruption that comes with it out of the way. Okay, I will leave at this economical hard time. I think it is criminal to be giving the branches of government such monumental money when the Nigerian people are suffering, but I will leave the morality out of it. However, to the extent that is for a quid pro quo, I will enrich you so you keep me in this seat of the presidency. The Nigerian people will not accept it, and it will not be accepted. See, let me tell you, modus operandi. The moment you give a ruling that contravenes the constitution, that contravenes the law of the land, that contravenes the will of the people, Nigerians will hit the streets. I say this with all sense of responsibility and unapologetically. Because I've had some argument that sometimes judiciary rule for political stability of a country. So they want to rule to keep the political stability and to keep the nation intact. And the premise of that statement, people, you think that the political stability is to keep Bola Ahmed Tinubu in power. No, that is the political instability you don't want. The political stability, if you want to keep political stability, the political stability is giving the people back their will. That is the political stability. You cannot be talking of political stability and go against the will of the majority. That is not political stability. That is political instability. Political stability is to go with the will of the majority. The majority determines the stability of the country. So, if you want to look at it from a political stability point of view, the right thing to do is to restore the mandate of the people. If you want to look at it by the merit and fact of the case, you will still arrive to the same answer in terms of your ruling. Restore the mandate of the people back to the people. You have been given a couple of billions. With due respect, I said I will leave the morality of that. It's the money, keep it. You understand? Keep it. The most important thing in our country now is our democracy. So, we can look the other way for now. But we'll fix that in the future. However, do not tie that money to this tribunal decision. They are unconnected. They are very much unconnected. If you get a bite from it, eat the money in peace. But to restore the will of the people back to the people. That is all I have to say. Yeah, I'll leave it here. So Happiness, come in before we go to attitude.
Okay. Thank you so much, comrade, for that beautiful submission. I will start from the angle that in other climes, like in Turkey, they conducted the election and there was no outright winner first. They go for the second. Now we have a president. They move on. Our election was conducted before that Turkey one. In US, my brother, if you disagree by the election result, you call for a count. You understand? Judiciary has nothing to do with who holds elective office in Nigeria. But before we get to that point, I will come to what you said earlier. Now, in elective office, it's only the people that have the final say. They are the kingmaker who hold elective office, because in a democracy, majority, you understand, have the final say. They say in parliament, minority have their say, majority have their way. This bill now that was passed, this 800 million, is because APC have controlled the majority in Senate. So even if all the whole opposition parties agree to vote against it, APC will always have their way. That is it, number one. So when it comes to democracy, is like comrade keep on saying, election is won and lost at the ballot. You understand? The court, judiciary, they have nothing to say on this one, because when it comes to who lead, the people of Nigeria have the ultimate say. The supreme power resides on them. Until we get to that point whereby election is won and lost at the ballot, and we take our judiciary out from our electoral process, like in US, you can call for a recount. If you go to Ghana, you call for a recount. If you go to other African countries, you call for a recount. It's not by outrightly say go to court. One, we are wasting our meager resources, because every day this justice's seat is cost on taxpayer. And we have paid 300 billion for INEC to conduct election. Why are we spending extra money on the judiciary to keep on sitting? So until we get to that point, that brings me to your point where you say that right now, the judiciary have nothing to do, only to affirm and rule based on and give the people justice. Affirm the will of the people. You understand? That is where we are. Just affirm it. Let's move on. Because in democracy, minority can never lead the majority. That is there is no brainer. Okay, now I'll end my submission here. On the petition thing, if you check page 8, I want to point something out. Or is it page 8? Oh no, page 9. If you check page 9, there's something they wrote on the last end. They said, last paragraph, they say, we urge the court to observe that the petitioner have hyped on electronics, transmission of results, as though the same regulation did not contemplate manual transfer. These guys are being so mischievous. The Electoral Act or the Electoral Guideline talks about manual collation, not transfer. Not transfer. So these guys bringing this grammar here to come and they went ahead to define what transmission mean and the transfer and all those kind of things. My brother, we know what we're talking about. There will be a manual collation, not manual transfer. There is nothing like manual transfer. Manual transfer is alien to Electoral Act 2022, alien to INEC Guideline 2022. So introducing foreign material to that Electoral Act in black and white is mischievous, is contempt, and we should treat it with the serious, utmost seriousness it deserves to debunk this misinformation going on. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. So that's the thing. They have done, like I said, this whole address is meant to achieve two things: to deflect and to confuse. So this is the confusionary component of it. You understand? So they mischievously tried to confuse the readers of this address by conflating the word transfer and collate. You get? They are two different things. Transfer is all about transportation of data. You understand? Collate is all about computation of data. Okay? So 2 different words meaning different things. Transporting it and computing it. That's calculating it. They are different things. You get?
What can you do? When you need to sound like yourself,
we know what the guideline said.
Warmer.
That transportation has to be electronic. Okay? You transport it
brainstorming a big idea
digitally
or chasing your next great opportunity.
That is what the guideline said. Okay? In real time.
We look forward to part.
Real time means instantaneously. Like real time, like real and time. Now, the same time as I'm sending it is reaching the recipient. Digital transportation. That is what the INEC guidelines stipulated.